My name is Laurie Burke, and I'm an assistant principal at Fleming Island High School. My mini inquiry topic is how can I embrace my teachers' professional integrity while improving student engagement and standards-based instruction in English classrooms on a daily basis. I've chosen this topic because starting last year, I began working with our English teachers. Before that, we were working with all subject areas, and so it was hard to be very knowledgeable in one area and work closely with one group of teachers to improve that instruction. But now we've kind of divided and conquered in a more strategic way, and I have been working with the English teachers. Last year was wonderful. My English team, we met all the way from 9th grade English to 12th grade English, and then we would break up and meet with grade level with English teachers. And we met on a weekly basis. We began the year in the lab looking at data from Performance Matters. We studied some information with Lexile levels. We looked at our lower quartile students. We broke up FSA into all the strands to see where our weak areas were. We took our data and we made them into categories where we excluded the ACE students in our data, we excluded the honors students in our data, we had data with everybody together in numbers, and we found some strands that we were really weak in across the board in all of those areas. And our scores were on a steady decline with the FSA, and so we wanted to improve that. And the first thing we did is we said, you know what, we may not agree totally with the curriculum map the district has, but you know what, we're going to go for it. We're going to follow this map exactly the way it works. So each week we studied the map. What story are we on next in the collections textbook? We use the assessments from the collections textbook, and so we studied that each week. And then we began to see things where we could pull in. For example, we pulled in poetic literature, which was very important that the curriculum guide and the collections didn't do as well as we thought was needed. So we saw some areas where we could make improvements, and it made a big difference. Last year, our 10th graders jumped 10 percentage points from 65 to 75% proficiency, and our 9th grade students remained the same at 71% proficient. We did good with learning gains, and I don't have to throw out a bunch of numbers here, but we held our own a little bit with learning gains throughout the state, and then our bottom quartile students. I would like to see improvement in those two areas, and we're going to have to really focus on some differentiated instruction, using our Achieve 3000, using the students' Lexile levels and breaking up groups and finding their weaknesses in their reading. And we've got a lot of work to do still. We made great strides, but we want to stay on those great strides. The first question my teachers asked at the beginning of this year was, what are we going to do if we don't do as good? Because we did raise in 10th grade so much. So they're a little nervous about that. But I see some instructional changes that we can make. I've been in those classrooms, and it's really neat for me to be able to go into all of 10th grade English classrooms during the same week, and I'm able to see everybody's sort of on the same lesson. They're at the same place in the curriculum map, and then we do the same assessment by the end of that unit. And so I'm able to see where everybody is and how the students are engaged, and which is where I notice significant weaknesses in our instruction is the student engagement. And at the elementary level, student engagement began to be embedded rather quickly with the new Florida standards. And it was sort of easier to do that at the elementary level, I should say, because those students hadn't been in school for very long, and some of them were just starting school. So to have them be engaged with fun lessons, but very rigorous, and build on that, and embedding those student conversations and embedding activities where the students are held accountable for their own learning, and they're held accountable to participate. It's not just group work, and it's not just cooperative learning. So at the high school level, it was a interesting task initially, and now as those elementary students at that time are now moving in through the high school level, they expect that engagement. And the reason they expect that is because they went through elementary school and junior high seeing this new curriculum. And I think it's important that our high school teachers make that adjustment. And it's not a quick adjustment. It's not an overnight change. And you get used to the way you teach, and it's hard to make that change, especially when you're a seasoned teacher. I have a couple of new teachers on the team that I've worked closely with, and I've seen great improvement there. And I want this to continue, and I think the way we can continue is to improve our student engagement in that instruction. Now, my problem or concern with that is these are professionals I'm working. They are professionals in their field, and they work on this every single day, and they are with these students every single day, and I need to respect that. They're professionals, they're experts, and I want to maintain a positive morale. I want them to be very involved on strategic improvement in their instruction. I want them to be reflective. I don't want to be the one to come in and say, this is the way I want you to do it, and I expect it done this way. I'll be in your rooms next week to check. I don't lead that way. I want their input. I want their buy-in. I want their suggestions. I want their ideas. And they've come up with some great ones. So with the student engagement, we see a lot of spoon feeding and at the high school level. And I've seen some shifts. And one of the biggest shifts was with one of my teachers who I feel was struggling initially. She was a brand new teacher. And I went in her classroom the other day, and she was doing read, discuss, read. And my seasoned teachers came up with all these excuses of why that was so difficult to get done in that time frame, and they're trying to stick with the curriculum map. So I'm going to continue to work with that young teacher and sort of turn her into a leader as a teacher on our team to help strengthen her as well, because I think she is very willing to make these changes. And so therefore we're going to continue to work, and I hope to gain skills in leading instruction to improve with that student engagement in a positive way, that it continues to build morale. And that's going to be me learning how to give the appropriate and proper feedback to see improvement, but also to show respect and build confidence in the teachers as well.